Convocation is now in session. As Chancellor, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our 313th convocation. Before we proceed with the ceremony, I'd like to call upon Professor Margaret McGlynn to present Western University's land acknowledgement.
As we gather to celebrate our graduating students, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that our beautiful Western campus is situated on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Lenape, and the Attawandaron peoples, who have long-standing relationships to the land and region of southwestern Ontario and the City of London. The local First Nation communities of this area include Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation. In the region, there are 11 First Nation communities and a growing Indigenous urban population. Western values the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all the original peoples of Turtle Island, also known as North America. Miigwech. Thank you.
To all our graduates, first let me say congratulations. You've worked hard to achieve this. Graduation represents a major milestone in your lives. At Convocation, we assemble as a university community to celebrate and recognize your achievements at Western and to wish you every success for the future. Your learning days are far from over. Learning is a lifelong process. Western has not provided you with answers to all questions. At most, we hope that what stays with you is a way of thinking objectively, approaching problems with an open mind, and a healthy respect for new ideas, all tempered with compassion and empathy for the human condition. You are forever a cherished member of this great university, founded more than 140 years ago. We welcome you into the Western family. Again, congratulations to each and every one of you. Today, we also confer an honorary degree upon Thomas Bouchard. In acknowledgement of this world-renowned accomplishments in psychological research and for expanding the scientific knowledge of the effects of genetics and the environment in shaping human character. To present our distinguished candidate, I now call upon Professor Andrew Johnson, Faculty of Health Sciences.
Dr. Thomas J. Bouchard, Jr. Dr. Thomas J. Bouchard, Jr. completed his undergraduate education at the University of New Hampshire and the University of California at Berkeley. He completed his PhD at Berkeley shortly thereafter through the Institute of Personality Assessment and Research in the Department of Psychology. Dr. Bouchard was on faculty at USC Santa Barbara between 1966 and 1969, at which time he joined the Department of Psychology at the University of Minnesota, where he served as chair of the department between 1985 and 1991. He was the founding director of the Minnesota Center for Twin and Family Research between 1983 and 2010, and he served on the executive committee of the Institute of Human Genetics at the University of Minnesota from 1985 to 1998. Dr. Bouchard has received numerous awards over his career, but his major research contributions have arisen from his work within the Minnesota study of twins reared apart, research that he began in 1979. This study led to the creation of the Minnesota Twin Family Registry, which later became the Minnesota Center for Twin and Family Research. Through his work with twins reared apart, Dr. Bouchard was able to demonstrate in an intuitively accessible way the impact of both environmental and genetic variation on a wide array of psychological variables, including intelligence and personality, as well as variables not previously thought to be impacted by genetic determination, such as social attitudes and religiosity. He was also one of the earliest scientists to identify the minimal contribution of everyday family environmental influences to cognition and behavior, when arrayed alongside the more powerful influences of genetic determination and specific environmental influences. And it is this devotion to the identification of important scientific findings and perspectives, often in the face of opposition, that makes Dr. Bouchard a particularly compelling figure in science and psychology. This devotion has resulted in prestigious Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Behavior Genetics Association, the International Society for Intelligence Research, and the American Psychological Foundation. But more importantly, his research and scholarship has made complicated mathematical models of genetic determination accessible to generations of psychology students and members of the general public alike. His development of institutional resources like the Minnesota Center for Twin and Family Research continue to scaffold the development of psychological and genetic theories that promise to extend and refine the work that Dr. Bouchard has contributed over his 50-plus year-long career in psychology. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and in the name of the Senate, I ask you to confer the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, upon Dr. Thomas J. Bouchard, Jr.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Bouchard. On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Dr. Thomas Bouchard, to address convocation.
I'm extremely grateful for this honor from such a distinguished university. I've been influenced by psychologists from Western's illustrious psychology department throughout my career. And in particular, I'd like to mention psychometrician Douglas Jackson and the neuroscientist Doreen Komura, two giants in psychology and courageous defenders of academic freedom, people I've admired for many, many years. There's a great history here at Western. I well remember my own graduation and the immense amount of work, especially in that physics course, required to reach the goal of graduation. So let me extend my sincere congratulations to you. I still feel that work today. I know you worked hard, and I wish you graduates the very best in your future endeavors. A brief summary of what I have to say might be doing science and finding out how things work. I think that's the goal of science, figuring out how things work. I'm going to give 3 small examples from my research program, but I recognize there are lots of different ways of doing science, so it's not a prescription on how to do anything. First, let me note that the data that I'll talk about to some extent were collected from twins reared apart over a period of 20 years. It took a long time. These twins underwent an entire week of medical and psychological assessment. And the consequences is you need a lot of people to work with you. Over 100 people worked directly on this project, a lot of others indirectly. I didn't accomplish the work by myself. Modern science requires a lot of collaboration. And again, a lot of other people deserve credit. Now, very early in my education, I was strongly influenced by the philosopher of science, Karl Popper. He argued that science is the practice of conjecture and refutations. You come up with ideas, conjectures, and people are going to try to knock them down. That's the way it works. According to Popper, to be considered scientific, conjectures need to be refutable. Popper was trying to solve the dilemma of the demarcation problem. That is, how do you distinguish between science and non-science or pseudoscience? I don't think he solved the problem. In fact, a lot of other people agree with me. It's a very, very difficult problem, and I'll return to that briefly. A number of years after reading Popper, in fact, I was in graduate school, I ran into the following quote: "Science is the belief in the ignorance of experts." We're all ignorant about a lot of things. Ignorance simply means lack of knowledge. We don't know everything. So it's a true statement. The quote is from the distinguished Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman. What Feynman meant was that it's important not to believe, and I quote him here, "in the infallibility of the greatest teachers of the preceding generation." I love this quote when I saw it because I had some great teachers and I disagreed with many of them. In fact, great teachers should expect nothing less. As you might expect, the goal of the three pieces of research I will discuss was to see if I could refute three widely held conjectures about human intelligence. And the study of human intelligence at the time I was doing it was quite controversial, as you'll see. Now, these conjectures were well articulated by Stephen Jay Gould. I will use him as a foil. I take it as indisputable that Gould was one of the greatest teachers of my generation. No doubt about it. A very brilliant man, did a lot of brilliant work. But even great teachers can sometimes be wrong. The first conjecture is that there's no general factor of mental ability. Gould put it eloquently and starkly. The general factor is chimerical. Now, the general factor is the theoretical construct that underlies what most people call intelligence or general cognitive ability. No general factor, nothing to talk about. Now, modern psychometric techniques allow us to test this claim with a very high degree of precision. So over 20 years, we collected the data. My research team showed that Gould's claim was false. The general factor derived from 3 different test batteries based on 3 different theories of intelligence, all correlated almost perfectly. They were virtually identical. This work has been replicated by others. We also replicated it using a large sample from the Netherlands, a different country, a different language, different tests. So in our view, Gould's conjecture was refuted. Our proposition, of course, remains refutable. People can go out and do research, show that it's wrong. But we gather a lot of evidence. That's what practicing scientists do, gather evidence. The second conjecture is that the general factor is a reification. Gould specifically argued, and I quote him, "The notion that such a nebulous, socially defined concept as intelligence might be defined as a thing with a locus in the brain and a definite degree of heritability is fallacious." To test this conjecture, I stepped out of my own field of specialization. I examined the relevant animal literature on mice, dogs, cats, cetaceans, primates, even birds. And I discovered an interesting thing. This is a fascinating literature, and there are brilliant people doing things that I had never imagined. 2 laboratories came to my mind. I call them the 2 Louis. I don't know these guys. I don't know whether they know each other. But one is Louis Lefebvre at McGill. He studies birds, and the work is fabulous. The other Louis is Louis Metzel at Rutgers. He studies mice. This is science of the world class, first class. It's really interesting when you step out of your own discipline and run into the work of brilliant people. Part of science and a lot of fun. I concluded a large body of evidence demonstrates that there's a general factor in a wide range of species and in the species studied, it related to brain size and is heritable. I think that work refutes Gould's hypothesis. Clearly, a lot of these animals are not social, but they have a general factor. The third conjecture put forth by Gould, as demonstrated in the previous quote, was that intelligence is not heritable. Our research program was designed specifically to test this hypothesis. Gould, by the way, acknowledged that monozygotic twins reared apart are, and I quote him, the only really adequate natural experiment for separating genetic from environmental effects in humans. The monozygotic twin reared apart design is very simple. It's two experiments. Mother Nature gives us monozygotic twins, two copies of the same genotype. Adoption gives us an experiment of society. These two individuals are grown up in two different environments. It's an extremely powerful experiment because it involves the entire life of the twins. Most research in psychology involves experiments where a person goes in and works in a lab for an hour. Sometimes they're longitudinal and last longer, but this is a lifetime experiment, a very powerful one. We showed that not only is intelligence significantly heritable, so are almost all reliably measured human qualities. We ran our twins through medical laboratories as well, dental laboratories, pulmonary laboratories. So we had all kinds of morphological, physical, and medical measures. These traits were all genetic. Our work on the general factor of intelligence has been replicated by a team of investigators in Sweden, the Swedish study of twins reared apart. I'm proud to say one of my honors undergraduate students at Minnesota was a principal investigator in that study. So one of the things you do as an academic is you produce high quality, well-trained students. That's what you are. And faculty are always proud of such products. Your products, your intellectual products, and you're the most proud product that an academic can create. Just an addition, in addition to studying the twins reared apart, we thought we have to replicate. So we created a huge twin registry at the University of Minnesota. That twin registry is still in process, and people are now doing molecular genetic research with the participants in our study. So what I have to do here is acknowledge the cooperation and help of the participants in our study. We had people come from literally all over the world, spend a week being probed, tested, and having dinner with. It was a lot of fun, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. So Gould's conjecture, third conjecture, is clearly refuted. Intelligence, or the general factor, is heritable. What's my message here? It's simple. Feynman was correct. He was telling us that skepticism is an indispensable facet of the scientific mind. He actually went so far in one of his papers to argue that the easiest person to fool and one to be skeptical about is yourself. And he's right about that too. There's a lot of evidence for that. Now, nevertheless, skepticism alone is insufficient. Another great teacher from the preceding generation, Carl Sagan, in a discussion of scientific reasoning, summed up the issue as follows: "It seems to me that what is called for is an exquisite balance between two conflicting needs. The most skeptical scrutiny of all hypotheses that are served up to us, and at the same time, a great openness to new ideas." Now, as you might expect, there's a current psychological theory of openness, and I'm very skeptical, so I'm doing research on it. Nevertheless, Carl Sagan was spot on, and I recommend this scientific attitude be applied to all the claims we're constantly bombarded with in everyday life as well. Thank you for your attention, and again, the very best of luck in your future ventures.
Thank you, Dr. Bouchard, for sharing lessons from your scientific journey with us this afternoon. As a leading psychologist, your research has helped us understand the impact of genetics and environment in shaping human character. This groundbreaking work has and will continue to impact and influence global research in the field. Distinguished guests, please join me in congratulating Western's newest Honorary Doctor of Science, Dr. Thomas Bouchard. Will the candidates for degrees, diplomas, and certificates please rise? Mr. Chancellor, I'm very much honored to present to you the candidates who have successfully completed their academic programs at Western. I ask you to admit them to the degrees, diplomas, and certificates for which they have been recommended by the Senate of our university.
Under the authority vested in me by the Senate, you will be admitted to the degrees, diplomas, and certificates as shall be announced by the public orators.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Will the candidates please be seated? Mr. Chancellor, graduating students, colleagues, distinguished guests, convocation is the single most important time of celebration in the life of the university. Today, we honor those graduating students who, through determination, hard work, and intelligence, have met the demanding standards of a Western degree. Today is also a proud day for all of us associated with this university, including our Board of Governors and Senate, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, and our friends in the community. It is wonderful to see so many members of our community of learning who have taken the time to join us and celebrate this important day in the lives of our graduates and the life of the university. Today, those of you crossing the stage will join a group called Western Alumni that numbers more than 300,000 alumni living in over 150 different countries around the world. So we become members of a very large and proud family. We are pleased to have Ms. Krista Zuba representing our Alumni Association, and I would ask her to please stand and be recognized. Western's Board of Governors is charged with responsibility for the overall governance of this institution. Today we have with us Professor Jane Toswell, representing our Board of Governors, and I would ask her to please stand and be recognized. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the parents, spouses, partners, children, relatives, and friends of our graduates who are here today. This celebration would not have been possible without your loving support. I ask our graduating class to rise once again, turn around, face your family and friends, and give them a warm round of applause for supporting your journey. Now let me congratulate once again the remarkable students who graduate today with Western degrees. Today you become partners in outstanding academic achievements of the University of Western Ontario. My warmest wishes to each and every one of you. We'll now proceed with the granting of degrees and diplomas. Before we do so, I have two special requests for those of you in the audience. First, as a courtesy to all graduates and their families, please hold your applause until the public orators signal when applause is appropriate throughout the ceremony. This will ensure that each graduate's name will be heard. Second, we know that photographs are important for graduates, their families, and friends. As you have heard before the ceremony began, we are pleased to provide each graduate with a photograph of this special occasion. Therefore, we ask you to remain at your seats throughout the ceremony, and of course, feel free to take pictures from there. I now call on the public orators to introduce the candidates for degrees.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the Faculty of Science for the degree Bachelor of Arts, four-year program. Nicholas George Ashuras. Gina Solaka. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science, four-year program. Amirali Abbasi, Altaf Mohammad Abdeen, Lina Abdul Rahman, Bola Oluwatito Adunola Adeshian, Keith Christian Afas, Rachel Selina Constance Afonso, Jasmine Alexandra Kayugan, Akram Al-Najjar, Yusra Al-Sharafi, Jaden Lynn Anderson Johnson, Catherine Rose Argall, Mohammed Sharif Attar, Julia Yvonne Bach, Justin Lyosh Balach, Jasmine Shannon Gwendolyn Barrick, Joshua Aaron Baisley, Jade Belizaire, Megana Mercy Benoit, Paulina Best, Kirsten Erica Bilzer, Christopher Björken Wade, Amanda Bonal, Chantel Brissett, Alexandra Kabungo Mario Kashungjwa, Jiaying Helen Tsai, Daniel Caramignoli, Anderson Sen, Julian Chan, Nisha Chaudhry, Akhil Chawla, Divya Chavla, Yan Cheng, Kyle Chung, Gary Chu, Jessica Jennifer Chu, Ashley Chug, Cindy Corrales, Mackenzie Scott Robert Crawford, Stephen Crossman, Nadia Daba, Kwesi Darku, Sharav Datta, Benjamin Roy Davis, Julia Elisa DeFilippo Gallet, Daniel David DeLellis, Shuyin Ding, Montana Donaldson, Ji Liang Dong, Trevor Adam Ducharme, Connor Joe Dunn, Miriam Elia, Levia Lara Eliason, Evan David McClenahan Finnegan, Chelsea Dawn Fleury. Rebecca Simone Formosa, Nicole Ellen Foster, Kelsey Nicole Jelinas. Anthony Junio, Nicole Gutkowski, Kyle Richard William Graham. Lanji Gu, Susanna Hanna, Xiaoli He. Hey. Ying He, Emma Holt Witherspoon, Brianne Homer.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment at this time to congratulate those graduates who have crossed the stage so far.
Asani Jayachandran, Caroline Gio, Alan Kyle Cabri, Niam Kataria, Samir Kaji, Eva Tina Keran. Catherine Kecham, Alan Rasad Khan, Sarfaraj Ajam Khan. Stefan Egrovich Komin, Tebam Edward Kim, Vivian Jiang Kong. Kevin Korean Kosi, Pri Chandani Kumar Seshan, Mary Lynn Lachapile, Justin Francis, Melina Laird, Justin Francis Lanjail, Scott Stephen Langley, Jacqueline Lau, Annabelle Priscilla Lauren, Mandy Lee, Alison Deji Lemaire, Oliver Matwas Lestian, Lane Liberty, Aijin Lin, Ethan Leo Chi Lip, Joel Surya Luke Francis, Connor Wallace McLaren, Genevieve Mary Malay, Nicole Mary Marchanda, Michael Manuel Marfetan, Carly Lynn Martin, Say Lynn Ray Martin, Krisai Mathan Ruben, Olivia McCog, Bryce John Reed,
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to thank those graduates that have recently crossed the stage.
Danielle Downing McFadden, Julia Erin McLeod, Adam McDoug, Roja Lita Mendonca, Selena Maria Mikloska, Brooke Millet, Manjur Mulk, Peyton Tylin Munger, Christine Nguyen, Swani, Nia May O'Brien, Michael O. Kevin Ong, Catherine Elizabeth Osborne, Stephen Jeffrey Pallar, Hannah Popov, Sylvia Prosper, Stephen Each, Olivia Luis Kwanda Mateo, Malavika Ram Krishnan, Karam Rasam, Malik Jain Raja, Daryl Ivan Relief, Matthew Stephen Robinson, Alexia Rockwood, Noor Fatima Saeed Chima, Peter Semano, Gurleen Sandhu, Aina Pola Sandoval Tamayo, Jasandeep Singh Sehra,
Zhong Wang Shen, Gurjat Singh Sidhu, Puyu Song. Alma St. Hilaire, Haley Lee Tavares, Connor Peter Tenishuk. Chun Tong, Shannon Marie Tumath, Liam Totten, Tyler Travis, Emily Trithart, Jennifer Law Truong, Lauren Ashley Tucci, Selena Marie Valvano, Chloe Katerina Wallace, Shanshan Wang, Stephen Wang, Zachary Wilson, Janice Wong, Zilin Shi, Olivia Yu, Hongji Zhong, Liting Zhong, Min Zhu, Zhen Zhu. Mr. Chancellor, the following is a candidate for the degree Bachelor of Science, Food and Nutrition 4-year program. Aaron Gabrielle Merantet. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts. Hannah Kish, Jennifer Tessier. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science. Omar Abdel Kader, Aikansha Chawla, Sammy Chu. Tony Curcio, Brent Michael DeVos, Song Song Do, Cameron Dymock, Rocio Nicole Garcia, Mitchell Gordon Gracie, Chantel Graff, Henry Chanwei He, Michael Allen Henderson, Ryan High, Abraham Lee, Michael Scott Levis, Urshita Nanda, Mogan Padash, Christopher Anthony Povolo, Catherine Roseanne Proctor, gold medalist, Aaron Jason Ridding, Daniel Joseph Sequeira, Joshua Gerard Stoddard, Jacob Sterling, Jia Chung Yu, Amanda Zaban, Alexandra Zanina,
In the name of the Senate, I grant to the registrar the authority to confer degrees, diplomas, and certificates to those candidates whose names appear in the official program but who are not present today. At this time, I invite Ms. Krista Juba, representing our Alumni Association, to say a few words.
Thank you. Graduates, on behalf of Western's Alumni Association, it is my honor to welcome you as our newest members. You join a growing global community of Western alumni, numbering more than 300,000, one of the largest among Canadian universities. Western, our faculties, and affiliated university colleges are very proud of its world-class standing, and we know that you share that pride as graduates of our undergraduate and graduate programs. As alumni, we are united by memories of our time here, and particularly of the knowledge and friendships that we have gained. The Alumni Association is dedicated to fostering and preserving the important bonds through the many programs, services, and networking opportunities that are offered. Immediately following this ceremony, you and your family and friends are invited to attend a reception in your honor, hosted by the Alumni Association, where each graduate will be bestowed their Class of 2019 pin. It will be held in the University Community Center Mustang Lounge. I look forward to seeing you there. From Western alumni, sincere congratulations on your achievement today and best wishes in the future. Thank you.
Before closing convocation, I wish to express my appreciation to all who have made today's such a success. In particular, and on your behalf as well, I want to thank the University of Western Ontario Convocation Brass for their magnificent performance and their director, Professor James Mackay. May I request that the audience remain at their seats while the academic procession leaves the hall. Convocation is now adjourned.